Elizabeth Warren is the garbage person of the highest order because she pretends to care for you while screwing you over. She wants to make sure your kid, she doesn't care if your kid still gets autism or ADHD or Tourette's or anything. She doesn't care what happens to you because she has to go do the bidding of her donors and her Democratic Party. She got an order to do that, and she did it. I want to show you one more thing about the Tylenol thing. Elizabeth Warren, I don't know if you saw this, Kurt. So when RFK announced that the Tylenol is linked to autism and ADHD and Tourette's in pregnant women who take Tylenol, which has been backed up by studies by Johns Hopkins, been backed up by studies by Harvard, it's been backed up by studies in Spain, backed up by studies in Denmark, and it's been talked about since at least 2014 on mainstream news like CNN, Headline News, CBS, NBC, ABC. They all reported on it. There's been lots of studies saying that Tylenol, acetaminophen, gives you autism and ADHD and Tourette's if your pregnant woman takes it. Elizabeth Warren got her immediately when RFK came out and is just repeating the science because that's what the science says. She is actually being anti-science, and she got her marching orders from Big Pharma and the Democratic Party said, go attack RFK on this. And she got ratioed. You want to see her get ratioed?
Did he tell people to inject bleach? I feel like that's not fair.
She says no one should be taking medical advice from the man who told Americans to inject bleach. Okay, that's a lie. I'd
like Elizabeth Warren to do that.
Trump never told people to inject bleach. That's a lie. So that's all. You know what? Well, you know who debunked that? Snopes of all places. Huh. The Democratic apparatchik Snopes debunked that lie. Trump never said to ingest bleach. So she's repeating a lie, misinformation, to push a point. The one guy who's actually pushing back against Big Pharma, the progressive, she's not a progressive, she's a corporate tool, is sent out to attack him. You think the left and the liberals would be overjoyed that there's someone that Big Pharma is afraid of in a regulatory body in the government. They're not. The exact opposite. They're the attack dogs for Big Pharma. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, AOC, they're all the attack dogs for Big Pharma. And all your liberal friends, too, by the way, on social media. They're doing the bidding of... There's finally someone who's going after Big Pharma, and because they've been brainwashed to have Trump derangement syndrome, they do the bidding of Big Pharma just like Elizabeth Warren's doing here. And she starts off with a big fat lie. And then she says, to moms worried about Tylenol they took while pregnant, you deserve better than being RFK Jr. So the talking point went out. Pretend that RFK is blaming pregnant women. That's not what he's doing at all. He's repeating studies to protect pregnant women from harming their children. And to the autism community, you are loved exactly as you are. So she wants them to keep getting autism. And she wants pregnant women to keep taking this thing that is potentially, that is in fact dangerous. Is not potentially. There's scientific studies linking autism, ADHD, and Tourette's to taking Tylenol when you're pregnant.
Well, so she wants autism's linked to Democrat voting too. So
yes, and she wants to keep that going. She's a monster. She's the thing that she's claiming RFK is. Here is Snopes. Snopes called out the lie. Trump didn't tell people to inject bleach for COVID-19. That's from Snopes. And Elizabeth Warren still... By the way, Tylenol tells you we don't actually recommend using any of our products while pregnant. They said that in 2017 because there were already studies coming out all over the place linking autism, ADHD, and Tourette's to pregnant women taking Tylenol. So Tylenol came out and said, we don't recommend using our products while pregnant. You know who does? Elizabeth Warren. And look at the ratio. So when I grab this, it's 5,400 responses. How many likes? 4,300 likes. So she got ratioed on her own post because it's all full of lies. I like this, what this person says. Delete Your Handler says, when they defend a drug more aggressively than your right to question it, you're not in a medical debate. You're in a spell. She didn't offer data. She offered guilt. She didn't refute the claim. She attacked the question. Because in the simulation, you don't need evidence. You need a villain. Don't blame Tylenol, she cries, like it's a single mom being bullied. Then wraps the autism community in a hug so tight it strangles curiosity. This isn't protection, it's insulation. A pharma shield dressed up as empathy. You're not supposed to notice that the same government that approved Vioxx, Oxycontin, and Remdesivir now says Tylenol is above scrutiny. And if you ask what's in it, they say you hate disabled children. That's not science. That's witchcraft in a lab coat. That's so well said. It's mind-blowing. Well done, delete your handler. And what about the Harvard? So there's a Harvard study taking Tylenol during pregnancy associated with elevated risk for autism and ADHD. I think that's from Johns Hopkins. This is the Harvard one. Using acetaminophen during pregnancy may increase children's autism. That's from Harvard. Johns Hopkins, Harvard. Elizabeth Warren doesn't want you to follow. They never wanted you to follow the science. The people who told you to follow the science were lying propagandist monster people. I'll break it down from a medical doctor's standpoint who hears autism stories every day from parents. You give the shot with heavy metals, meaning a vaccine. Child develops a fever. Mother freaks out and administers Tylenol. You deplete glutathione. So we already showed you this in another video. But there's this thing called glutathione, whatever, however you say it. And if you deplete that, that's what causes brain inflammation and encephalitis. That's what causes ADHD and autism. That's the theory. That's the link that these studies are shown. The blood can't rid the heavy metals from the shot. The metal stays in the brain. The immune system mounts an attack. Inflammation occurs in the glial cells and neurons, and result is autism. So Tylenol depletes this thing that you need that fights inflammation. So if you take Tylenol, it depletes that, you're going to get inflammation, and that's the connection that the science says it has to ADHD and autism. By the way, here's a zillion other publications that say the same thing. Over here, it says from Mount Sinai study. This is from Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai study supports evidence that prenatal acetaminophen use may be linked to increased risk of autism and ADHD. Here's PubMed. Use of acetaminophen during pregnancy and risk of autism spectrum disorder in the offspring. That's from 2016. The role of oxidative stress, inflammation, and acetaminophen exposure from birth to early childhood in the induction of autism. Here's another one. Prenatal and postnatal exposure to acetaminophen in relation to autism spectrum and attention deficit and hyperactivity symptoms in children. Meta-analysis in 6 European population-based cohorts. So that's from Europe. Doctors told pregnant women Tylenol was safe. Now research raises doubts. Does using Tylenol during pregnancy lead to autism? More experts raise alarm. So this isn't new. This has been known since at least 2014 that they've been doing studies that have shown this link. And I just wanted to show you that Elizabeth Warren is the garbage person of the highest order because she pretends to care for you while screwing you over. She wants to make sure your kid, she doesn't care if your kid still gets autism or ADHD or Tourette's or anything. She doesn't care what happens to you because she has to go do the bidding of her donors and her Democratic Party. She got an order to do that, and she did it. Come see me on tour in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco, Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Brisbane, Burbank, California the day after Thanksgiving, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.